Who has number one name recognition? Andrew M to the F to the Yang has the highest name recognition of anyone running. Maybe that's why Eric Adams and Stringer are so like kind of pissed at him. Because they're probably like, hey, man, I've been in New York City politics. I've been in the bowels of New York City politics for decades. And then this guy, kind of shows up. And now he's like the Pied Piper. I guess that would be their argument. I think in reality, Yang has lived in New York City for like 15 years. So it's not like he just moved there from, LA or something. But yeah, number one name recognition is the Yangster. Okay, if the primary were held today, who would you vote for? Number one would be Yang, but not by like a landslide. Look at this. In January, he was 28%. Oh, so here's like a little bit of warning to the Yang Gang. The number one choice of Andrew Yang has slipped. I don't know if this is a headline I've seen in the Yang Gang media, but he has slipped from 28% saying he was their top choice to 16. So has Adams. Adams has slipped from 17 to 10. And then who has gained? Shoot. A little bit of McGuire. Basically, we went from 19% undecided to 50. So we've gone sort of in the opposite direction that you would have expected. I'm not sure why. Now, there's a little asterisk here, so let's read the fine print. January survey choices included name and description for each candidate. January candidate also included a bunch of other people. Yeah, no, that's not fundamentally changing the takeaway from here. So if you are Andrew Yang's campaign, that's not a great trend that you've dropped. You could convince yourself that, well, hey, everybody's dropped. But why would you go from 19% undecided in January to 50 in March, right? That's interesting. So I'm guessing the Yang for NY campaign is not resting on their laurels, and they're hearing. Now, NSRC is saying, hey, the methodology was different and the questionnaire was different, so you're comparing apples and oranges. Maybe. That could be. That would be a very good outcome if that were the explanation of the difference. But even if you don't compare January to March NSRC, let's just look at the March data as it is. 50% are undecided. That number. Forget that it went from 19 to 50 being undecided. Just assume that all we know is that 50% in March of likely NYC Democratic voters do not know who they're going to vote for. And this is only 3 months from the primary. So, and yes, Yang is numero uno, but 16% is not exactly a landslide. So that's that. Now let's see here. How strength of support. So if you liked Yang, 48% of Yang supporters are definitely Yang supporters, but 60% of Adams supporters are hardcore Adams. And then everybody else is, Wiley is around 50. Who has the weakest support among their first choice voters? It would be Garcia. Only 31% of people who ranked her as their first choice are definitely going to stick with her. And only 28% of McGuire first choice supporters are definitely. So a lot of like soft support. But hand it to Adams. 60% are definitely. And then if you say definitely and probably combined, 98. Very, very similar between Yang and Adams when you combine the two. For second choice support, among those who indicate a candidate preference, among the 16% who say Yang is their first choice, most likely second choice is going to be Adams. For the people who want Adams, most likely second choice is going to be Yang, so that's nice. For those who like the Wiley, most likely second choice is going to be the Yang. For those who like Stringer, most likely second choice is barely the Yang. McGuire goes to Adams. Donovan goes to Adams. Garcia goes to Stringer. Morales goes to Stringer. So what's the takeaway here? I think the takeaway is that this is a dogfight between Yang and Adams. That would be my takeaway. And that maybe you could argue you could see Stringer collecting a lot of the long tail support and suddenly becoming a little bit more interesting. Stringer right now, where is Stringer? Stringer is, he's only got 5. I don't know if that long tail support that would flow to him would really change things. Maybe if we dig deep into Adams supporters, if they don't go to Yang, they go to Stringer. But look at this. For Yang supporters, if their 50% are hard pressed to yes, Mocha Lex NYC is using ranked choice voting. So 50% of Yang supporters are not really sure. They're like Yang or nothing. Whereas most of the other candidates are very happy. Most of the other supporters of other candidates are very happy to support someone else. But the Yang supporters are like, man, I don't know. If not Yang, I'm not sure who I'm going to put for my second choice. So, maybe the other takeaway is that the Yang base is pretty strong. And there's probably a lot of people who are going to participate who may not have previously participated in New York City local elections. So that's nice that Yang is kind of activating a broader base of support within the city. Demographics.
Hello, nerds!
Oh, Sasha has become a Nerds for Humanity member. Thank you, Sasha Alexandra. Let me get my little cowbell. Ugh. Welcome, Sasha. Thank you for being a member, Sasha. Remember, all member moolah goes to investing in just producing more content. I don't use it to buy any Ferraris or even pay for my living expenses. I am able to do that with my day job. So all of the support for this channel goes back into content, like the software I'm using to stream right now. Okay, now let's see if we have... So we had a bunch of demographic, but I'm wondering if they have crosstabs. Oh, they didn't give it. Boo, Pulse of Primary. You didn't give us the crosstab. So I was trying to see like, oh, how's Yang doing with different ethnic groups? But I'm guessing Pulse of the Primary doesn't think people like crosstabs, but I do. Well, so that's it. So the takeaway for this poll is that the Yangster is still numero uno, but half of the people are undecided, and the Adams is no joke. And, he's got some strong support. 60% love him. 60% of the people who support him really support him. Around 50% of those who support Yang really support Yang. However, half of Yang voters do not know who they would put as their second choice, so they generally are going to be Yang or nothing types. But, yeah, so that's it for the polls. Now let's look at news coverage. Yes, Tamar is correct. Please remember to hit the like button and share because let's be honest. Can I be honest with you guys? Yang Gang Media, we're struggling. We're struggling to keep the content going and to keep the flame lit. So, I'm stubbornly going to keep doing these streams at least once a week. But appreciate your help spreading the word. So like, share, subscribe. If you really like this stuff, think about becoming a member like Sasha Alexandra just did. All right, now let's look at news coverage. What is in the news about the Yang? So what we have here is Andrew Yang speaks truth to teachers in mayor's race. Okay, so this is where I think Yang, maybe not surprisingly, has been willing to kind of test sort of traditional Democratic, red lines or third rails. And he's actually said, hey, these teachers unions need to, sort of be a little bit more flexible in working about, I think it's about reopening schools. But let me kind of dig into that actual article. Let's see. Andrew Yang must have seen this coming. Oh, yeah, the third rail, like I was just saying. Teachers unions. He grabbed the third rail with both hands. I will confess to being a parent that has been frustrated by how slow our schools have been to open. And I do believe that the UFT has been a significant reason why our schools have been slow to open. Now let me know in the chat, do you think that is suicidal for Andrew Yang to question the whether the teachers unions are being cooperative and helpful in reopening the schools and if they're being reasonable? Or so did he just kind of like shoot himself in the foot and now all of the voters are going to go to Adams? Or do you think Yang is being Yang and just keeping it real? I think it's the latter. I think voters will appreciate that he's willing to say, hey, unions are great, but they're not perfect. And in this case, there should be more sort of partnership on reopening. So maybe we'll look back in the future at this statement and say, wow, look, a Democrat can challenge a union and still be pro-union, but we'll see. So that's the union stuff. New York Magazine, Yang is driving the race right now. Anti-Asian attacks place Andrew Yang in the spotlight. How will he use it? Adams gets a union endorsement. Andrew Yang's celebrity will dwindle at the polls, Maya Wiley says. So I think Maya's saying, hey, he's not a real candidate. He's kind of a celebrity. Kind of like what I think the Democrats were saying about Obama when he was running against McCain. Like, oh, he's a celebrity. He's not like, don't take him seriously. Yes, I did just compare Andrew Yang to Obama. I don't know. I don't think it's that far of a stretch. A fresh voice, new energy, new generation. But let's see what she said. I'm moving up, and I've been moving up steadily since October. It's a wide open race. T-shirts don't win elections. There you go. So that's Maya Wiley. And if we look at Maya Wiley's numbers, she says she's moving up. So let's see here. Maya Wiley had 8% of people saying that she was their first choice back in January, and in March she has 6%. Now, in fairness to Maya, everybody saw some erosion in this January to March comparison. She has 6%. She's number 3 according to this March poll. So I think she has every right to say that, hey, don't count me out. Now, she does have about, a little less than a little more than a third of Yang support. And then of Yang supporters, let's see how many will go to Wiley. Well, about 8% would go to Wiley for those who like Yang. Wiley, yeah, her supporters, a lot of hers are going to go to Yang if she doesn't make it sort of, over the threshold. So interesting. So that's a little bit of a dig on Yang by Wiley saying, hey, my daughter has a Bernie T-shirt. Just because you're popular doesn't mean you're going to win elections. That's fair. It's a fair argument. I mean, I think if you like Yang, bro does not have it locked up at all. He's the front runner. He's a front runner in a race where there's a ton of people undecided. New York City mayoral candidate Yang shows shift in bringing talent to the city. Yang is right to fight Asian American anti-Asian hate crime. 5 takeaways from the NYC race. Let's take a look at that. All right. Number 1 takeaway. The candidates take direct aim at Yang, which is not surprising. I mean, he is a front runner, so why wouldn't they? Okay, this is what, who's saying? Stringer is saying, whether it's an illegal casino on Governor's Island, housing for TikTok stars, or being baffled by parents who live and work in 2-bedroom apartments, kids in virtual school, we don't need another leader who tweets first and thinks later. So I think this is Stringer comparing Andrew Yang to Donald J. Trump. So there you go. And then the Yang response was, Andrew Yang is going to keep talking to New Yorkers about his plans to get the city safely reopened and people back to work. We'll leave the tired 1990s negative campaigning to others. Definitely heating up. Candidates are reluctant to decriminalize all drugs. And friends with money. The latest campaign filing revealed that Ms. Wiley has friends in Hollywood. Oh, yeah. Let me see if I can bring that up for you guys. I think I have some data about money. The money race. Let me see if I can pull that up. I think I bookmarked it. Give me a second, folks. Oh, man. Logging in. I sent myself a link to this. Yang Finance. Yeah, baby. Okay, so if you go to the oh, come on, load. Come on, interweb. nyccfb.info site. I know you guys probably hang out there all the time. It used to pull up the details, but now the site's not loading. Boo. Let me see if I can find it in another source. NYC Mayor Finance Filings. Oh, the finance summary report is being updated and is temporarily unavailable. Please try again in a few minutes. All right. Well, this is what happens. Maybe the nyccfb.info site needs Yang to kind of help them fix that. All right, let's move on to we were doing the takeaways, right? Yeah, here we go. We'll come back to that later. Yang received $2,000 from Jessica Seinfeld, the comedian, the wife of the comedian Jerry Seinfeld, and Siggy's Yogurt and founder of Kind Bars. Adams has the most money Adams has more money than the Yang? Wow, 7.5 million. Morales has the most individual donations. She's got 9,000. Oh man, I really wish I had the data so we could look at it in a table format. Let me see if maybe New York Times has a link. No, hold on. No link from the New York Times. I'll let you know if our friends at the NYCFB Finance Board update their thing. All right. Donovan versus the Wall Street Journal. Criticizing the editorial board for turning a blind eye to the racist and un-American remarks by Mr. Trump. Okay. And then, story behind Yang's omnipresent scarf. You know it must be a slow news day when they're writing about his scarf. I frankly, don't really care about Yang's scarf. But, at any rate, so those are the 5 takeaways. Let's see anything else in the news. This Politico says that Yang continues to dominate the field. I don't know if I'd call it dominate the field unless they're looking at different numbers. Yeah, like this is where I'm not sure if the journalistic integrity is great. Like this is the number, 16%, and this is the headline. Yang continues to dominate. Bro ain't dominating. It's 16%. But yeah, okay. I guess it's better. I mean, look, we complained when the media was too negative about Yang. Now I feel like they're a little bit too positive, at least in this case. I know the New York Times is definitely not too positive about Yang. They, I don't know what their deal is, but they're not too positive about him. Okay. Let's look at the social media trends. But before we do that, let me give a thank you to some of the supporters of the Nerds for Humanity channel. And we're going to start with our highest level, which is the vice president level. Now, I will say that we do have a senior vice president and executive vice president levels. And if you join at that level and you ever have like a message you want me to read out to the audience from you about whatever, political stuff you're interested in, that is a perk of being a senior VP. But let's start with our VPs, currently our highest members. We're going to do it by total time as member. V Lamb, JM Sap, Fat Lamb, Kristen Slevin, Soldier One. Let me make sure my head is not blocking this. There we go. Laura Lane, Patrick Dunn, Bike, and Mindful Skeptics. So thank you. Get out of the way. There, Mindful Skeptics. Okay, now we'll go to hardcore level. And we're sorting this guy. Golly. Yeah. Mike, Gene, David, Tracy, DK, Phoenix, Jackalego, Kirsch, Mr. History, Byram, Mona, Susan, Yang, Tony, Robert, Dean, Statnerd, Galessa, Jay Perrin, Annalisa, Jay Bryan, Vivian, and Dana. I keep blocking. Hold on. I can fix this. Let me move myself over here. All right. So thank you. Did I read? Yes, I showed all of them. Vivian and Dana. Okay. Thank you to the hardcore. And now we're going to go to the verified. We have Helen, Lisa, Sugar, Albert, Brandon, Yes, Brian, Peter, Arez, Your Mom, and Sophia, Jedwiga, Gail, Shake and Make, Mike, Doris, Emerald, Nell, Nieves, Lori, Ben, Roger, Lisa, Christina, Vaughn, Rastafasta, Richard, Jessica, James, Jalopy, Emma, Spirited, Huey, Stephen, Ira, Shoni, Philip, Jameson, Dr. A, William, Karen, Monica, Alex, Ardent, Mai, Semery, Brittany, Clyde, Want to see more, and Sasha Alexandra. Oh, it's cut off there. Ah! What just happened? Hold on. Can you see Sasha's name? No, we can't see Sasha's name. Hold on, I'll do it this way. There, Sasha, you're up there. You just joined. I think those are all of our thank yous. Now, let's go to the social media trends.